Hi, it's Hans at happierman.com. Today's topic is pretending things are fine. Well, this is March 2020 as I'm speaking in the U.S. And of course, we're right in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic, right? We're all dealing with this in the U.S. and worldwide. It's really the only thing that people are talking about, worried about, thinking about, doing anything about, for the most part. But as I was thinking about this, the pretending things are fine, I wanted to relate this to your own life. For example, on the high levels, people were kind of pretending things were fine. All the political leaders, both sides, all sides, every country, were kind of pretending things were fine. And when you pretend things are fine, when they're not, you get into big, big trouble. And that's, of course, what we have. And now we see that there's been massive amounts of action to try to correct that thinking, that pretending things are fine. And by doing that massive amount of action towards pushing things to the fine part, away from pretending, things are happening, right? That we had there's the huge stimulus package from the federal government in the U.S. that will kind of be a stopgap thing. It remains to be seen. Will that be enough money to get things going, to tide people over? Will that kind of boost things so we don't all feel like everything is falling apart? I hope so. I tend to think I've never had a case where a big influx of money has hurt me. Have you? Seems pretty obvious that when you get a big influx of money, you're at least going to feel better to do something with it. So let's say on a personal level, if you get $1,200, well, that's pretty nice. That's better than a poke in the eye. You should be able to have a little bit of buy some supplies, pay a few bills with that, can't you? And if that kind of money is like meaningless to you, well, then you have enough money that you don't have to worry about it, right? So bringing it back to the pretending for your life, we'll get past this pandemic, right? Everybody optimistically, usually flu-like viruses end by the summertime. The summertime burns them up. That's why we need the summer to come. I can't wait for the summer and the heat and the humidity to burn the virus up, because I love that time of the year anyway. But we need that summer to come fast this year and burn this up. Now, certain parts of the country, sounds like they're in bad shape. Usually the packed in, densely populated areas, that's where the suffering is the worst. It sounds like, I'm irritated that I don't see any spreadsheets. I'm an engineer. I got to see the spreadsheets. I don't trust just the words and the sentences and what they say on TV. I need the spreadsheets. But anyway, I got to see the numbers. How many people have died? What were their underlying conditions? Were they smokers? Were they old? Were they feeble? Were they infirm? All of that. That's all what I need. Anyway, getting back to pretending things are fine in your own life. Well, just as we see that it takes massive effort and massive changes in order to push things in the right direction on a worldwide, US-wide, countrywide scale, you may have to do the same darn thing with your own life if you're pretending things are fine. I got the book, right? When I was married, I was being verbally abused. My wife was giving me a hard time almost continuously. It was just, some months were just unbearable. Around Christmas time, I just hated Christmas time. She took a lot of pressure. She pressurized herself at Christmas time, and she took it out on me, and she made what should have been a nice time of the year for me and everybody just a horrific time. But you know what I did in those times, I was pretending things were fine. I was just going to work, coming home, putting up with her verbal abuse, dealing with rage and screaming and shouting and wild spending of money we didn't have and no way to pay back. Her continually trying to remodel the house, tearing parts of the house apart, and I got no way, no know-how, no equipment, no tools, no materials, no money to fix all the things that she's broken. It was just a crazy, stupid, sticking my head in the sand, pretending things are fine time in my life that I regret to this day, because it set me back decades. And if you have anything like this in your life, with a bad wife, a bad relationship, you want to get out, you should get my book, Leave Your Wife, Become a Happier Man with a 3-Step System. It will save your life. It saved mine. It's not too late for you. Doesn't matter your age. Obviously, the sooner you get out of a bad marriage, the sooner you can start rebuilding your life. The sooner you start pretending things, the sooner you stop pretending things are fine when they're not, the sooner your life starts to go up. All right? We don't want to deal with pretending things are fine when they're not. When things are not fine, you have to act, and you have to act with massive action and try to make an improvement. And it's not easy. Leaving my wife was not one bit easy. When I left her, it was a painful, messy disaster. I left my little children crying and weeping. It was terrible for them. For myself, I wanted to die. Truthfully, I would have, if I didn't have the two little ones, if I didn't think they would see me hanging from my basement rafters with a rope, I was pretending things were fine, right? I didn't act. I didn't ask for help. I didn't reach out to anyone. I didn't confront her. I didn't demand better treatment. I meekly asked for her to be nice to me. No, you don't get anywhere by being meek. You don't get anywhere by being nice to a person who can't be nice to you. You only be nice to the people who are nice to you. Gosh darn it. You as a man, you don't gotta take all of that crazy, stupid verbal abuse that we're supposed to be taking when you see all the stupid shows on TV and the snarky comments and the sarcastic cut-downs. Do you want that for your life? That's pretending things are fine. That's sticking our head in the sand about a virus trying to kill us. That's depending on a communist dictatorship for our stuff that we need to survive. Instead of building in here, we've got all the stuff here. We can just build it here. All of that's got to end. That is pretending things are fine. And you don't want that. We don't want that. We don't deserve it. You understand? We have a right to a good life, not dependent on whoever for it. You're going to depend on yourself. You're going to this pretending things are fine is waiting till the pandemic starts to get your toilet paper and your food and your medications and the things you need to live on. Get that stuff. Have it. Always have it. Right? What is the sense in not always having it? All right? This pretending things are fine will ruin your life. It ruined my life. It's trying to ruin all our lives now, but there's little ticks of improvement. We're seeing it. You got to look past the normal mainstream media because they always want to keep us in fear, always want us to be afraid, always want us to pretend things are fine with the status quo. And they're not. The status quo is not good for us. We need to make changes. So as you're dealing with this coronavirus, as you're trying to hold things together with your wife and your kids, I would be evaluating how your marriage. If you have any trouble at all, get my book, Leave Your Wife and Become a Happier Man with a 3-step system, and start making your plans. There's guidance in there about making your plans. When is a good time to do this? What are some steps you could do to kind of prepare? I heard a good thing the other day from a divorce lawyer. If you get laid off from your job, this would be the ideal time to leave your wife. You want your income low. I'm sorry, ladies. This is all a game that the lawyers play. But get that book. If you start thinking about your life, don't pretend things are fine. If you're quarantined at home with your wife and she's just making your life a living hell, start making your plans. Don't pretend things are fine. Do not pretend things are fine. That won't help you. That will just prolong your misery, make your already miserable life worse. I can't imagine being quarantined at home with my wife. I at least had a job to escape to for 50 or 60 hours a week. The only way I could keep sane was those long hours at work. Working all that overtime for all that good overtime pay, time and a half, to get evaporated over foolish buying instead of building my bank account, instead of investing for the future, instead of having fun with it. It was all wasted. I was pretending things are fine. You have to stop pretending things are fine. Make a positive change in your life. Start making your plans. Become a happier man. All for now.